Welcome back. This is our Sex Mode presents Orcs Must Die. Playing through on Nightmare, trying to get the 5 skull achievement. This is level 9, the stream, I think that's what it's called. So this is, I think, the first map that's got flying monsters in it, maybe. And also what gives you the steam trap, which is something I never use. So anyway, this was the first game I played of my playing session. I was a little bit rusty, but I picked my 4 normal items, plus the guardians and the crossbow, the coin, the charm, the grinders, and the barricades. Now here I'm just running up and doing an AoE to sort of thin out the first mobs while I plant some guardians up here, as all monsters will come through, all flying monsters will come through that window there, as they are in the first wave. And then you've got the 2 entry points for the normal orcs, the ground units, I suppose. So at any point on this map you can use the wind spell to push them into the acid pit, or whatever it's called. I quite like having defenders up where they are now, so they can thin out the ground number herd, as well as taking out the flying units. And here I'm sort of setting up a kill zone pad, and I want to get the Weaver with the spell money for it as well, just to sort of macro up doing that, because I know that this is a map where I use the AoE lightning quite a bit. So yeah, I'm just placing crossbows up there so they can attack the flying units, and the flying units will use that path to the rift. One thing there, as you can see, I'm failing to lightning bolt the flying units. And that's something that I learned, is that the lightning has a range on it, and unfortunately that was not in range. So if you're deciding whether or not to fire ice or lightning at the flying units, because ice will kill flying units in one hit, including the bigger flying units. With the lightning, it can take a couple to hit them, but if you, oh god, had a terrible aim. So to kill these flying guys, you can either use the ice, and that's a one-shot kill. You can headshot them, that's a one-shot kill. Or you can use the lightning, which is like a 3-shot kill. But if you're using chain lightning, you can kill, 3 or 4 of them with 3 shots. So this level I'm just placing, I'm going to be focused on the guardians and the crossbows. Oh, and do not fall into the acid pits, because that will definitely ruin your chances of getting 5 skulls. So just placing more crossbows up there, right at the window, just so I can have a couple of more sort of dedicated traps, I suppose, to actually killing the flying units, because these archers over there, I mean, the flying units are only in their range for a little bit. That's why I've chosen to go with the crossbows sort of closer to the entry point of the flying units. And typically I find on this map the ground units aren't really too much of a threat, because their pathway is so long to get to your rift. There's just a big massive train. So here I'm just taking the time to, I realised I didn't get my Weaver earlier on. I must have been wondering where my coin was. I'm just deciding between the two. I think I end up going for that spell one I was talking about earlier. I haven't got it quite yet as I don't have the coin, but I'm sure as soon as I do I'll so there we go, select it. There we go, now we're making the money. So yeah, so I've set that up as my kill spot for the first door. It's kind of still in range of the guardians, as well as it's quite close to this entrance where I'll be hanging out and a lot of my attention will be. I know that I haven't, if I go further down the road, then both ground units will converge at that point, but I've kind of set up the 2 kill zones to sort of thin out their numbers a little bit earlier. So yeah, I've thrown a grinder in there as well, just to soften up some of the orcs as they come out, and I'll be setting up a sort of second kill zone here for the other guardian that's behind me, and the crossbows that's just in front of me. So should be placing a coin forge down, or a couple of them. There we go. Just to earn a little bit more money, I suppose. So here with flying units, the ice kills them in one hit, and unfortunately the lightning doesn't quite have the range, and I keep forgetting that. So, you know, that was a couple of shots wasted there. So I personally, if I can, would rather use the lightning on the flying units, but if they're out of range, then use the frost. For the small flying units, anything will one-shot them, so actually lightning's probably better in that regard. And for the bigger ones, you can actually headshot them in the face, as the main character says, and that will one-shot the big flying units as well as using ice, or you can just chain lightning, you know, group of them 2 or 3 times. Now here's a gift. Make sure you utilize them. It's an armored ogre, and I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. I mean, I could have been shooting the other units, but I'm waiting. Oh, hello. No, get on the track. There we go. So, and that placement is good because I want to. That's my kill zone. That's where I want to kill them. And he's now, you know, providing a choke point right under the AOE that I planted, and that's just perfect. That's exactly where I want them. Ideally, I want my spells to be killing the monsters because that's the texture I've gone. Now I'm placing the guardians here on this side rather than up on the hill, because, you know, I've designated that point where the ogre is my killing choke. So the archers are going to be in range of that, and as well as the flying units, because they come sort of straight down along that wall. So the guardians aren't sort of wasted. Where if they're up on the high ground, you know, the units are only in range for about 50% of the time rather than, you know, 100% of the time. As you can see, the arrows flying across. So there's a lot of units here. I've got to be careful. I see a group of flyers as well as the crossbow trying to take out my guardians. So I'm not doing too well to try and save them. Any group of crossbows like that, just kill them, because they will kill your charm mobs and your guardians if you let them. So it's just better just to fire off a couple quick lightnings. And there we go, ensure to get that rift upgrade so the rift can kind of defend itself, because there's nothing worse than not getting your 5 skulls because you've missed one little unit and you just didn't see it and he slipped through. So having that ability where the rift can you know, shoot its own lightning bolts sometimes saves you, and you don't even realize. It's particularly useful as well if it's a level that's got more than one rift, so they can, you know, it's double the DPS or, you know, protection, so to speak. So yeah, just staying true to the kill zones, you know, thinning out the ground units where possible. I mean, I know on certain waves you can have the luxury of trying to pick up their shields, but just because of the sheer numbers on this map, it's better just to try and you know, kill them when you can. Yeah, so I've got a bit of money, so I'm just putting up more arrows up the top there. They aren't upgraded, so here, rather than dealing with these, I've just pushed them into the depths of hell. So that's quite a easy way to deal with them. Now I'm not sure if I should be using ice, right? Here we go. So it was a good shot, got 3 of them, and just all focused trying to get headshots. Don't know, oh, I'm running back to see if my charms traps back up. I see that it's not, so I should be looking to kill that. Well, Guardians killed that ogre for me. As you can see, a couple get close, but you know, I would have had that rift protection. The Guardians back there as well to protect it. Whereas if I had the Guardians up in the high ground, it may not have been in range for it. So here we go, another bonus ogre, nice and easy to charm. Just keeping an eye on how many flyers are coming out. I realise that there's a hell of a lot of units coming in behind me as well. So for the smaller units, I know I've got enough. You can tell by the speed that the dots are moving. I knew that my Guardians would have had that covered. So here's kind of sort of the final kill, I think. I'm not sure if too much more after this. I know it's on the final wave, so I don't want any mishaps, so I just double up at the end here. Because, you know, as you can see, the run path's so long. So this one was interesting. Yeah, you see the ice has got unlimited range, just lots of small units, but I know I've got enough Guardians on the board to take them out. You know, even if I wasn't shooting them, I'm sure my units could handle it. The main threat though from mass flyers is actually dying if they get over you. They'll just fireball you to death. So I'm not letting that happen here. Chain lightning does the trick, and that's that. So yeah, the levels are getting more and more harder. That one wasn't too bad if you sort of just use the natural paths. There's the 5 skulls. Won't worry about the score, and see you guys next time.